God did not stop hearing your prayers after 40. He stopped rewarding the version of you that was praying without the blueprint. If you are watching this at 40, 45, 50, or somewhere in between, and you have been faithful, you have been tithing, you have been praying, and the financial walls have not moved, I need you to stay with me for the next 17 minutes. Because what I am about to show you is not a motivational speech. It is not a promise of sudden riches. It is a 15-part blueprint pulled directly from Scripture that God embedded in His Word for people exactly like you, people who are starting or restarting after 40 and need to know that the game is not over. Let me name the pain first. You are over 40, maybe 45, maybe 52, and somewhere in the back of your mind, a thought has been sitting quietly that you would never say out loud. It sounds like this: it is too late. You watch younger people build, invest, and grow. You see the headlines about 30-year-olds retiring early, and you think about where you are right now. The debt that followed you into your 40s, the years of doing it right spiritually but not seeing it materialize financially, maybe a divorce, a lost job, a health situation, a season where survival took everything you had, and now you are standing over 40 with less than you expected and more to do than you feel you have time for. I understand that weight, and I want to speak to it directly. You have not been abandoned, you have not been overlooked, and this is not punishment. What has been missing is not God's willingness. What has been missing in many cases is the complete blueprint, the full set of instructions. Because Proverbs 13:22 says that a good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children. That verse was written for people building wealth with purpose. And the interesting thing about that verse is that it assumes construction. It assumes movement. It assumes you are still in the building phase, no matter what age the calendar says you are. Here is the reframe I need you to receive before we walk through the 15 items. Starting at 40 with God's financial principles is not a disadvantage. It is actually a strategic position that younger builders often do not have. You have something a 25-year-old does not. You have clarity. You have survived enough to know what matters. You have watched trends come and go. You have made mistakes and lived through them. When you apply wisdom at this stage, the compounding effect is not just financial. It is experiential. It is relational. You are not behind the curve. You are right on time for a different kind of construction, one built on depth rather than speed. Now let us walk through the blueprint, all 15 items. Each one has a behavior, a scripture, a practical application, and a single action step. These are not suggestions. They are God's architecture for financial stewardship. And every single one of them is available to you right now, wherever you are starting from. Over 40. Number 1. Develop your skill before you demand your reward. Proverbs 22:29 says a person skilled in their work will stand before kings, not before ordinary people. God gave Bezalel in Exodus 31 not just a calling, but a craft. The Spirit filled him with ability, intelligence, and knowledge. Before wealth comes skill, identify the one ability you carry that the world will pay for. Spend 30 focused minutes daily sharpening that ability starting this week. Number 2, work like the ant, not like the anxious. Proverbs 6:6-8 describes an ant with no supervisor that still prepares in season. James 2:26 says, faith without works is dead, not sleeping, dead. Stop waiting for a sign to move. The sign is the season you are already in. Identify one productive task you have been postponing and complete it before the week ends. Number 3, build a budget like Joseph did. In Genesis 41, Joseph did not just pray Egypt through 7 years of famine. He built a saving and distribution system. Jesus endorsed this in Luke 14:28 when he said, "Count the cost before you build. Track every dollar that moves through your hands for 30 days. Write down your 3 largest spending categories tonight and identify one you can reduce immediately." Number 4, eliminate debt with the urgency of a freed prisoner. Proverbs 22:7 says the borrower is a slave to the lender. That word slave was chosen intentionally. Debt does not just limit your finances. It limits your obedience. It limits your generosity. It limits where God can send you. List every debt from smallest to largest. Attack the smallest one first with every extra dollar you can find this month, and keep rolling that payment forward. Number 5, gather little by little and protect the process. Proverbs 13:11 says, "Dishonest money dwindles, but whoever gathers little by little makes it grow." This single verse dismantles every get-rich-quick scheme ever devised. God honors consistency over intensity. Even if you are starting small after 40, small and consistent still wins over time. Open a dedicated savings account this week and automate a transfer, even a modest one, on your next pay cycle. Number 6, diversify your income streams intentionally. Ecclesiastes 11:2 says, "Invest in 7 ventures because you do not know what disaster may come." God designed His people for multiple streams, not single dependency. The Proverbs 31 woman ran real estate, agriculture, and manufacturing simultaneously. If you have only one income source over 40, you are one crisis away from starting over. Identify one skill you possess that you could offer as a service or product outside of your primary income. Number 7, guard your spending with the discipline of a watchman. Proverbs 25:28 says a person without self-control is like a city with broken walls. Everything you build can drain out through undisciplined spending. Galatians 5 calls self-control a fruit of the Spirit, not just good advice. Every unnecessary purchase you avoid is a brick in your financial wall. Identify one recurring expense this week that does not align with where you are trying to go and cancel it. Number 8, surround yourself with wisdom, not just encouragement. Proverbs 13:20 says, "Walk with the wise and become wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm." Your environment shapes your financial thinking more than almost any other factor. Evaluate the voices you listen to most regularly. Are they building something or just talking about building? Find one financially grounded mentor, resource, or community and engage with it consistently starting this week. Stay with me, because what I am about to show you in the next 3 minutes is the part most believers completely skip, and it is exactly why they stay stuck. Number 9, build with honesty as the foundation. Proverbs 11:1 says God detests dishonest scales. That same Hebrew word for detests is used for idolatry. Building wealth through deception, manipulation, or exploitation is not just unethical. It is spiritually self-destructive. Proverbs 13:11 confirms that dishonest money dwindles. Every financial decision you make should pass the integrity test. Assess your current income streams or business practices and remove anything that could not stand before God's standard. Number 10, give generously and consistently. Proverbs 11:24 says one person gives freely, yet gains more, Withholding produces poverty, but generosity produces abundance. This is not manipulation of God. This is alignment with His economic design. Generosity is not for when you feel wealthy. It is a practice that creates the conditions for increase. Establish a fixed giving commitment this week, not based on how you feel, but based on principle. Number 11, plan before you move. Proverbs 21:5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead to abundance, but haste leads to poverty." Impulsive financial decisions are one of the primary ways believers over 40 lose ground. Before any major financial decision, give yourself a mandatory 24-hour reflection period, rooted in prayer and calculation. Write out your top 3 financial goals for the next 12 months and put specific numbers next to them. Number 12, commit your plans to God and then work them. Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will succeed." This is not passive spirituality. This is active co-labor with God. Commitment without execution is just wishing. Your prayer over your finances should be accompanied by a plan underneath it. This week, take the plan you wrote from number 11 and identify one concrete step you can take toward each goal in the next 7 days. Number 13, steward what you have before asking for more. Luke 16:10 says, "Whoever is faithful with very little will be trusted with much more." God does not promote managers who are neglecting current resources. If you are over 40 and waiting for a financial breakthrough, ask yourself honestly whether you are maximizing what is already in your hand. Audit your current assets, including skills, relationships, and existing income, and identify one that is being underutilized right now. Number 14, think generationally, not just personally. Proverbs 13:22 is not just about your comfort. It is about a chain of blessing that flows through you to people not yet born. Every financial decision you make over 40 has a generational echo, a will, a life insurance policy, a family conversation about money. These are acts of love and obedience. Schedule one concrete generational stewardship step this week, whether that means updating a will, opening an account in a child's name, or simply having an honest money conversation with your family. Number 15, obey now, not later. Delayed obedience is the silent reason most financial blueprints never activate. James 1:22 says, "Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says." Every principle in this list only works when applied. God does not reward the believer who heard. He rewards the one who moved. The difference between where you are and where God's blueprint can take you is often not more information. It is action on information you already had. Pick one item from this list and act on it before this day ends. Now, I want to tell you about a man who understood that impact is not reserved for the young. Moses was 80 years old when he stood before Pharaoh and demanded the freedom of an entire nation. He spent 40 years in the wilderness learning, being shaped, being pruned. What looked like lost time was actually formation. The burning bush did not appear to a man in his prime with no scars. It appeared to a man who had walked far enough to understand both failure and faith. And when he stepped into his assignment after 40, after 60, after 80, he built something that outlasted empires. If you are over 40 and you feel like the wilderness has been too long, consider that Moses was not delayed. He was being prepared for a weight that only his specific experience could carry. God does not waste decades. He deposits into them. Everything we just walked through, all 15 items rooted in Scripture, is available to you in one organized resource. The Proverbs 13:22 Wealth Rebuild Workbook is in the description below. It is not a sales pitch. It is a tool. Think of it as a trusted friend handing you the organized version of everything we covered today, so you do not have to piece it together on your own. The link is waiting for you right now in the description. If something in you just woke up, honor that. God is not trying to shame you. He is redirecting you. Before you move on, take one honest step. Like this video, so this message reaches other believers who have been asking God for financial direction, but never found teaching that connects Scripture to real financial life. Share it with someone who has been praying for financial movement, but needs to hear that God's wisdom is not vague. It is practical. It is written, and it still works. Comment below with the part of the blueprint that convicted you most: discipline, stewardship, generosity, delayed obedience. I read every one. Subscribe to Divine Money Code, not for entertainment, for Scripture-grounded wisdom that speaks truth without watering it down. The blueprint has always been there. You just had not opened this chapter yet. Open it now. God bless you, and I will see you in the next one.